What is up, Life Fam? This is David, your spiritual awakening coach. After my last video, to all empaths, listen up, which you can go watch right here. I'll link it in the description below as well. I got a lot of love from you guys. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. But there was that small percentage of unhealed empaths that did not want to take accountability for their unhealed trauma, who proceeded to leave 3-paragraph comments validating why they're staying in an abusive relationship with a narcissist. So this video is not just to address what's really going on there, but more to provide the solution. So if you are an unhealed empath and you've decided to stay in an abusive relationship with a narcissist, watch to the end of the video so that you get the solution. But first, we're going to dive into what is actually going on. And I do want to make the distinction abusive relationship. I get these comments, well, we all have narcissistic traits. Yeah, I know, but we're not all emotional manipulators that derive our value from controlling other people. So what's your point? Yeah, we all have narcissists. Stop leaving that message. We know this. There's a difference between natural narcissistic traits and malignant narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder. There's a big difference there. So stop leaving that comment. But let's talk about what's really going on here. If that video triggered you, then remember, your trigger shows you where you're out of alignment with your heart, you're out of alignment with love, and you're in alignment with fear. By default, that means that the relationship that you're spending 3 paragraphs defending is out of alignment with love. It's out of alignment with your heart. It's in alignment with fear. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to defend it. You wouldn't be triggered. So this is a situation where the unhealed empath has decided to listen to the ego. The ego is like a well-trained attorney, and it will use all kinds of logic and rationalization to get you to stay in a situation that it believes is familiar, to stay in your comfort zone, because to get outside of your comfort zone is a threat to survival. The ego is tasked with survival. So when you do want to follow your heart, honor your divinity, honor your self-worth, love yourself, and leave that abusive narcissistic relationship, and you hear things like, well, who's going to date me? I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be single. Am I even worthy of attracting someone else? The dating world is so difficult. What's going to happen to the kids? What's going to happen to the house? How am I going to cover these expenses on my own? What are all those excuses in vibrational alignment with? What is the core frequency of all of those questions? Survival. Who's in charge of survival? The ego. The heart is not concerned with survival. The heart is concerned with your highest good, knowing that survival will always take care of itself because the universe always takes care of itself as you. This is why the universe is always going to have your back. But the heart is not concerned with the hows. It's the ego that's concerned with the hows, and will do all of this fear mongering to get you stymied in fear and stay where you are. So what the ego will do is sell you this big lie so that you can sleep easy at night for choosing fear over love. So understand that you are a fractal of source consciousness having a physical experience. The dominant frequency of source is love. The polar opposite frequency of source is fear. So fear is not your natural state. Your natural state is love. Anytime you've decided to stay in a frequency that's the opposite of your natural state, you have to tell yourself a pretty big lie so that you can sleep easy at night. So when a video comes along that says heal the trauma, that has you trauma bonded to the narc, or heal the trauma that seeks validation from the narcissist, that calls that lie out. All of a sudden that lie is threatened. Who's in charge of survival? The ego. The ego has to step up and write 3 paragraphs as to why that lie is still valid so that you can still sleep easy at night and be comfortable with your decision staying in fear. This is not, I assure you, you did not incarnate to live in fear. You did not incarnate to be abused. You did not incarnate to be miserable and mediocre. And anytime you choose that path over what your heart wants, you're going to have to tell yourself a lie so that you can sleep easy at night. And then when that lie is triggered, showing you where you're out of alignment with your heart, the ego has to step up and validate that lie so that it can sleep easy at night with its bad decision, basically. Okay. So let me get off of that for a second and let's go to the solution, because we're about solutions. We don't just respond to hurt people who hurt people. We give solutions here at Lightways. We're all about empowerment. If you are an unhealed empath with unhealed trauma and you've decided to stay with a narcissist who is abusing you, and you've told yourself this story as to why you can't leave, what I want you to do is find a quiet place. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, bring your conscious awareness to your heart space. You can even place your hand over your heart to palpably feel where your conscious awareness should be. Get into your heart, think from your heart, and then ask the question, should I stay or should I go? And then I want you to feel into the feeling of your heart. Intuitively feel that feeling. Remember, the language of the heart is feeling. It's not language. It's not words. Words is the ego. Well, who's going to date me? I'm too old to date. I don't want to be out in the dating world. I don't want to be single. Well, that's all ego nonsense. That's words. Sink into the feeling. Should I stay or should I go? And whatever the heart says is what you should do. Period. I love you guys. Namaste.